2025 is almost over. And in a lot of ways, it was a really strange year, but it was very, very strange for the economy. So, all week this week, I'm going to be doing something that I am going to call Chart Week. So, every day this week, I'm going to look at one chart that I feel like sums up some part of the economy and the journey that it went on in 2025. Here it is, Chart Week, just when you thought it was safe to go back in the economy. Seemed really awesome when I wrote it. Okay, so for my first chart, I am looking at consumer spending. And this is just one of the illustrations of something that has come to be known as the K shaped economy. So, for the wealthiest people in the US right now, things are pretty good. The stock market has been booming all year, setting records almost every week. So, for people who own stock, and this has been a really good year. As you can see this in the chart, the top 10% of spenders, they're spending more and more and more. In fact, the top 10% of earners now account for about half the spending in this country. That is a pretty scary statistic. Remember, consumer spending is about 70% of the US economy. Us buying stuff, that is the rocket fuel that our economy uses to grow. And so, if that growth is completely dependent on a smaller and smaller group of people, then it gets more and more fragile. If something happens and that small group of people decides to stop spending or to start saving, we could be in a lot of trouble as a country. Now, you see that at the beginning of the pandemic, everyone was sort of spending in tandem. Then we went through a really hot job market. So people were getting raises, their wages were going up, people were spending more and more. But then in the last couple years, you see that there has been a huge split, a K, if you will, where the people who are earning less money are suddenly spending less and less. And there are a couple of things happening in this chart. One of them, of course, is inflation. Our money is just buying less. If you look at things like food, it's about 30% more expensive than it was before the pandemic. Rent, 30% more expensive. We're spending less and less because the amount of money we're making is covering less and less of what we want to buy. And the job market has also stagnated quite a bit. An economy where a small number of people are really, really thriving and most of the economy is not, that's not a healthy economy. And it also creates a lot of political and social unrest because a lot of people see all this wealth being created, see all this growth, and they feel left out of it. They feel like they're not a part of it. I think this is the biggest economic story of 2025, this widening gap. Hopefully, 2026 will see that gap start to narrow again. We'll see an economy that is growing and making everybody wealthier with it.